Welcome to the 3rd annual Foundation Lady Awards. My channel is all about foundation, high-end, drugstore, you name it. And today I'm going to share with you the best foundations I tried in 2024, including the big winner, Foundation of the Year. Let's jump right in. First up, I'm going to start with a new category, which is Most Innovative Foundation of the Year. And our winner is Urban Decay Face Bond Self-Setting Waterproof Foundation. When I heard the name Face Bond, I'm going to be honest, it terrified me. I thought it was going to be thick, sticky, and cakey. Now, let me start out by saying that I have normal to dry acne-prone skin. This foundation is going to work best for normal to oily skin. But even with my skin type, I was able to use this with my skin being exfoliated and hydrated beforehand. What surprised me most about this formula was how lightweight it felt while still giving really good coverage. Now, I did build this up with 2 layers in the video here, but I feel like this looks best with just 1 layer on my skin. It lived up to the name as it lasted for hours. So if you need a good full coverage but lightweight foundation, especially if you're going to be sweating or you need something for an outdoor event in the summer, I think this one is a great option. And next up is the foundation you picked as the big winner this year. The viewer's choice for the best foundation of 2024 goes to e.l.f. Soft Glam Satin Foundation. I was not too surprised when I saw this foundation pull ahead in the polls because so many of you have been reaching out to me telling me how much you've been enjoying this one. First of all, let's start with the price point, which is around $8 US, which is a great price, especially considering that it rivals its high-end counterparts. Now, before I tried it, because of the packaging and the name, I wondered if this was going to be like one of my other favorite drugstore foundations for dry skin, which is the L'Oreal Pro Glow. Now, just for reference, if you're a fan of that one, these two are definitely different. Not bad different, just apples and oranges. Pro Glow is a thinner, watery consistency, whereas e.l.f. has a slightly thicker consistency and more initial coverage, but it does offer a beautiful sheen to the skin, and I really like that they offer this in 36 inclusive shades. Now, this one's going to work best for my normal to dry skin friends, but it also looks really nice on mature skin. Just make sure you go in with a light hand to start on this one, as it can have the potential to get a bit cakey around the nose or fine lines if you go in with too much too fast, as is the case with most foundations. Next up, we have the winner for Best Full Coverage Foundation, which goes to the One Size by Patrick Starr Turn Up the Base Full Beat Waterproof Liquid Foundation. Okay, the best way to describe this is if the full coverage Estee Lauder Double Wear and the old Marc Jacobs Remarkable Foundation had a baby. To me, it's kind of right in between those two in terms of texture and coverage. And you know what? I think this was a really smart time for Patrick Starr to release this foundation. We have been in a state of natural looks and clean girl makeup trends for a while now, and most companies are releasing light to medium serum type formulas. And Patrick was like, I'm going to jump on this and put out a full coverage formula. Now, for most of you, this is not going to be an everyday foundation. For many of you, this may be a never-use foundation because of the fact that it is such a full coverage formula. With that said, it's a high-quality full coverage formula for those of you that want that. This is another one I suggest using 1 layer on, which should be plenty. In addition, the majority of the people who wear this are going to want to take this not only down the neck, but also onto your chest as well, because it will give you such a doll-like even finish that if you don't, your neck and your chest are going to look too different from your face. I loved how the rest of my makeup applied on top of this. It's waterproof, it's long-lasting, and keep an eye out if you're interested in this one because I'm going to be releasing a longer video on it in the new year. Next up is the Best Cream Foundation of the Year, and that goes to the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Blurring Balm Powder. The name is interesting because it's a cream formula, but I'll get to that. As I'm applying here, please ignore the fact that I accidentally purchased this in a shade that is way too light for me. Luckily, I was able to warm it up with some bronzer, but that aside, normally when I talk about cream foundations, I talk about how good they are for normal to dry skin, but this one, I'm actually suggesting more for my normal to oily skin friends. This goes on like a cream and then it dries, so I was able to use this without using powder on top, and it gave me a very sheer, skin-like finish. This is another foundation where I tried building it up, but I didn't like how it looked when I tried to do that. I definitely think this is best with 1 layer. And this is also one of those products that's supposed to have many uses. The company says you can use it to prime skin, to highlight, to contour, to set your foundation. I'm not going to speak on all that because I haven't tried all of those methods yet, but I will say that using this Blurring Balm foundation is great for those of you that like a product that looks very natural and you can apply quickly and be out the door. Next up is the winner for Best Luxury Foundation, which goes to the Chantecaille Future Skin Gel Foundation. Now, when I say luxury, I mean luxury, including, unfortunately, the price tag. This one comes in at $90. But I have to be honest with you, and out of all the luxury products I tried this year, this one was truly my favorite. So for my beauties out there that don't mind investing in a foundation, this is an oil-free gel formula made of 60% water, which I originally thought of as a good thing until one of my lovely viewers said, I don't know if I would advertise it as being made of 60% water if I were charging $90 for it, to which I was like, girl, that is a good point. But anyway, the water content is what makes this a very sheer formula. It looked nice on my skin with one layer, but when I got to 2 and 3 layers, I started to feel like my skin was looking magical. However, using 2 to 3 layers of this on a regular basis will definitely cause you to go through it much faster, so I will not be using this as a daily foundation. And as a side note, I also mentioned in my original review that this is the foundation used on the set of the show Euphoria because it provides such a natural, youthful skin-like finish without making the actors look like they're wearing foundation. Make sure to check that out. I'm linking my longer foundation reviews in the description box below. Now we have our winner for Best Powder Foundation of the year, and that goes to the Clinique Almost Powder Makeup. Quick note. This has actually been out for quite a while, and I used to use this years ago, but I just featured it on my channel this year. Now, normally my rule for what makes a foundation eligible for the Foundation Lady Awards is that it has to be a foundation I tried for the first time in that year. However, I tried maybe 2 or 3 other powder foundations this year, and I just didn't feel like there was another powder that lived up to the standards I expect for a Foundation Lady Award. So let's get back to this beautiful mineral-based powder. I love that even though I was dealing with some skin issues at the time, it completely covered my acne. And it's Clinique, so it's dermatologist and allergy tested and fragrance-free, which always makes me feel better when dealing with active breakouts. But one of my favorite things about this powder is that it is so fast to apply and it lasts all day. The only thing I want to make you aware of is that this contains both an SPF of 18 and talc, which means it can cause some pretty major flashback in photos. So please make sure you don't use this as an important day foundation, like for your wedding or anywhere flash photography is going to be taken, because your face will look a completely different color from the rest of your skin in pictures. The next foundation is actually a winner of 2 awards. It is the Best Light Coverage Foundation and the Best Drugstore Foundation of the year. And this one goes to the Revolution Beauty Skin Silk Serum Foundation. This one is so pretty, it was actually in the running for Foundation of the Year. There's just one strike against it, and that is it has a strong, perfumey fragrance. This would be near perfection if they had made it without the added fragrance. It's lightweight, water-based, and basically feels like you're putting water on your skin. I love applying this with a brush, giving it a minute to set, and then going back over it with a clean, damp beauty sponge to remove any excess. When I apply it that way, I end up with the softest, subtle satin matte finish. It's buildable, it's beautiful, and it's around $7, which I also love. And I also want to give a quick honorable mention to the other foundation that was in the running for both of these awards, and that is the Wet n Wild Bare Focus Niacinamide Skin Tint. Beautiful coverage, dewy finish, and as I discovered a few weeks ago while playing around with it, a dupe for the Laura Mercier Real Flawless Weightless Perfecting Foundation, which was a viral sensation. And now for our biggest winner of the night. Foundation of the year goes to the Glossier Stretch Fluid Foundation for buildable coverage. This hydrating gel cream has a medium coverage and it's 89% skincare. I really appreciate not only the shades, but the undertones they offer in this foundation. Although, as I state in the video here on this particular day, this shade was pulling a little yellow on camera for me because I was trying out new lights that day. I purchased it at Sephora and it cost $34, so clearly not the least expensive of the bunch today, but compared to other foundations at Sephora, very reasonably priced. There's no fragrance in this one, none of the yucky ingredients we've become aware of as consumers to try to avoid, as well as being vegan and cruelty-free. I was dealing with acne the day I tried this in early 2024, and it covered all of my breakouts without having to use a separate concealer, and the coverage lasted all day. And best of all, the finish is my favorite. It gives what I refer to as Barbie skin, where you have a flawless coverage, but a slight sheen to the skin when the light hits it. My normal to dry skin foundation wearers will especially love the finish, but don't write this one off if you have oily skin, as I think for many of you, this one with a bit of powder could work quite well. This foundation is a well-deserved winner for Foundation of the Year. Make sure you check out my Foundation Lady Awards from last year. I still love every one of those foundations too. And make sure you're subscribed and click the notification bell so you can be alerted to all my new content in 2025. Have a wonderful start to your new year, and I'll see you soon.